And Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead!
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Tap Room Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jordan Stacks on Stacks Lats. Joined as always with my guy, Mr. Big Ballin' Ben Larson. Live
Yes,
and
sir.
direct Sunday night. We are being brought to you by the Sharps app, SHARPZ. Straight to your mobile device. Use promo code JORD517. It's free to download, free to use. Track your bets. Become a better Sharps app. With all that being said, Ben, week 17 in the books. One more week left of the regular season for the NFL, and then we can get rid of this completely dog shit league. I mean, dude, this has just been a terrible year, and we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, man, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well,
Are
man.
you still off
I'm in
next
the middle
week?
of I'm in the middle of my break, so I'm living life. Finished the last of the Christmas festivities with people who are not in town today.
Nice.
So now it's finally just time to get that rest and relaxation in. But we got one more day of week 17,
We do.
which means we got one more day of battling out in our fantasy finals.
I think you're gonna win.
It's close. It's very close. You're up 111 to 76 right now, but I have 3 guys going tomorrow. Um, and I think you're done.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna win because
I've
yeah.
got Gibbs, I've got Kittle, and I've got Detroit defense going.
Yeah, I'm screwed.
Well, we'll see.
I'm for sure
We'll see.
losing.
Projected is 114 to 111.
It's gonna be close.
It's going to be close.
But without having David Montgomery, that means Jameer Gibbs is going to get hella touches. So
Yeah.
I'm probably screwed there. And then obviously the Niners are out of it, so I don't know how much they're going to really fucking care.
Yeah, and their defense is a little banged up too.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting finish there. But yeah, tough week. Thought Adams would do a little bit more, and Kyler fucking. I mean, he had a good second half yesterday, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. You're probably gonna pull it out, but
We'll see.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, man. So obviously we haven't really talked a lot of NFL lately. This NFL season's kind of been cheeks, to be honest, because usually the NFL is a league of true parity. Like usually half the league is like 9-9. You know what I mean? They're hovering around 500. And then you have like obviously the good teams, and then you have a few bad teams, but the parity or the difference between like the good teams and the bottom teams usually isn't as wide as it is this year. I mean, this year you have 5 teams with a point differential of 100 or more. One of those teams is actually slightly under 100, but they're like right there. And then you have a ton of teams that they have a negative 100 or more point differential. You have the Carolina Panthers who are almost minus 200, Ben. I mean, it's just like, it's such a huge gap between the good teams and the bad teams. And then the teams in the middle, it's like they're bad too. It's like the Denver Broncos in the first round of the playoffs are probably going to get smoked. Or actually,
Yeah.
they're not going to make the playoffs. Sorry, they're going to be out. But the fact that you had like the Broncos and the Colts battling for a playoff spot, you saw the Miami Dolphins who
Oh yeah, the Chiefs next week. Never mind.
who
Denver.
but they're out. That loss to Cincinnati knocked them out of the playoffs.
They're 9-7 right now.
I know, but
There's
I don't think
no,
they're mathematically eliminated, but I think they're like eliminated.
they'd have to win next week against Kansas City.
Yeah, but Kansas City's probably gonna rest everyone.
You've got Denver, who's 9-7. You've got Miami, who's 8-8. Cincinnati, who's 8-8. So I mean, Denver is still in the the driver's seat right there.
Yeah, they are.
So Miami and Bengals are both 8-8. Miami wins a tiebreak over Cincinnati based on win percentage in conference games.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy
Yeah.
how bad.
But that also could change next week because Miami plays New York, which is a conference game, and Cincinnati plays Pittsburgh, which is a conference game. So if Cincinnati beats Pittsburgh and Miami, well, okay, so if Miami wins and Cincinnati wins, both teams win, then Miami would get that tiebreak.
Yeah, but if Denver wins, they're in because they'll be 10-7.
Yeah, if Denver wins, they're in. If Denver loses, then whoever wins between Miami and Cincinnati is in. And if both win, then Miami gets that final spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and just I mean, looking at the AFC, like what you're talking about is completely, is completely legitimate because if you look at the top, 6 teams, those were all teams that have double-digit wins in the win column, and then you've got 4 teams: the Broncos, Dolphins, Bengals, and Colts, and the Colts could even, be put in that lower echelon.
Yeah. Well, they're eliminated now.
Yeah, they are eliminated, but they at least got 7 wins.
Yeah.
But then you drop all the way down to the Jets, who are 4-12, the Raiders 4-12, the Jags 4-12, Cleveland, Tennessee, and New England, all 3-13.
Yeah, and the NFC is not much better either.
The NFC has a little bit more parity. I mean, you've got 9-7, 8-8, 2 7-9s, a 6-9. Well, Niners will be 6-10 tomorrow.
The fact that the Rams are gonna win the NFC West is comical. They have they're -14 in point differential.
Yep.
And they're gonna win that conference because the
Yeah.
Cardinals absolutely fumbled the bag.
But then they're gonna have to go up. Oh, it'll be the Rams Commanders. That'll be actually a good game.
Yeah, I think the NFC is like a lot better, but I still think as far as like the tiers of the NFC, like I think the Eagles and Lions, although the Lions have like a shit ton of injuries right now, which really hurts their chances. So like I would put the Eagles like head and shoulders above everybody in the NFC. Whereas like the AFC, I think you have 3 teams that can contend to win the conference. Like you have the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs. Now the Ravens haven't been able to prove year in and year out that they can win in the playoffs. So that's a huge test for them, right?
Mhm.
And then the Bills, they can't get over the hump of beating the Chiefs in the playoffs. So we'll see if they can do that this year.
Huge question mark. Yep.
So that's what's going on in the AFC. But like, I don't see any way, shape, or form that the Broncos, Chargers, Steelers, or Texans can win that conference, or even the Dolphins and Bengals. If the Bengals had like slightly better defense, I would say like they had a chance. But bro, Ben, that defense is fucking atrocious, dude.
It is. It really is, which is surprising because last year it wasn't this bad. The year before that, it was really
It
good.
was really good, yeah.
And things have just kind of dropped off the hill. But I think you're right. Kansas City, Buffalo, or Baltimore is definitely going to be the team coming out of the AFC. I think we'll get one upset, one shock. Out of Kansas City, Buffalo, or Baltimore, probably losing in I mean, Kansas City can't lose in the first round, but
But it's going to be
you
one
know,
of those teams beating the other one. Like, I don't see anybody beating those teams, especially being at home, because they're going to be at home until they have to face Kansas City.
yeah, at this point it's Buffalo, Denver, and I don't see
Broncos not
that.
beating Buffalo.
No, it would be the Chargers and Ravens. The Chargers could beat the Ravens.
Not in Baltimore, I don't think. That's tough,
It
dude.
it could happen.
They got smacked by the Ravens at home, though.
Yeah.
I just don't think the Chargers have enough on offense to keep up with the Ravens.
Yeah.
That's the problem with them. Because, like,
And then,
the Chargers have to win, like, a low-scoring game unless they're playing, like, the Patriots, right, where they won 40-7. But it's going to be extremely difficult for them to play a team like the Ravens, Bills, or Chiefs because they just can't score enough.
yeah. Yeah.
The NFC's a little different, like, because, you know, I think the Packers are a really good team. I think the Commanders are young. I think them winning in the playoffs is going to be, I think they're like one and done in the postseason.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends. If they're playing Tampa Bay, no, they wouldn't be playing Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay is out right now.
No, Tampa Bay holds the division right now. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Oh yeah, they do. Sorry.
yeah, they hold the division right now. So
Yeah, right now it would be Tampa versus the Eagles.
no,
No, it'd be
it
Tampa
would
versus the Rams.
it
No, because
would
Tampa they are winning their division, so they'd be the 4 seed.
yeah.
So
So it would be Tampa, Detroit,
Tampa would get
Washington,
smashed.
LA Rams, and Green Bay, Philadelphia. And Green Bay is just too injured. I mean, I know
Yeah.
they'll get some players back, but Philly's strong offensively and defensively. So
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think you're gonna have.
Philadelphia. Since Detroit has so many injuries, dude, Philadelphia
Yeah.
is by far and away the best team in that fucking conference for sure.
Yep.
Because they have the number 1 defense in the league. Their offensive and defensive lines are hella good. Now they do need Jalen Hurts back, but he'll be back.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
the
Kenny
playoffs.
Pickett isn't winning you anything.
Well, actually, I thought Kenny Pickett actually looked good today, but he got hurt.
Do you see his little stutter? Like he like tried to stop a throw and then like fell flat on his face.
No, I missed that one, but
I'll send you a video of it.
I thought he looked decent. You know, I thought he looked good for the majority of the time he was in, but losing him, I mean, now you're really thin at QB, so we'll see.
And fucking Dallas just sucks.
Dallas has been playing better of late.
Not today.
Nah, today they were awful. Today they were awful.
And another question, what the fuck are the Giants doing?
Well, you know, we talk about this every year, dude. Like, telling professional players to lose that's tough, dude. You can't really say that. You can't really do that
It's
shit.
tough, but do you want the number 1 overall quarterback? Because they just lost their number 1 overall spot.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a number 1 quarterback in this draft, dude. Like, I don't think I think Jalen Milroe has the highest ceiling, and he's definitely not going to be QB1. Probably it's probably going to be Cam Ward because Shedeur Sanders looked like shit last night against BYU. So we'll see what happens there. But like, I don't know. Like that this is the problem with these teams that fucking suck that are drafting number 1 or high in the draft is like they have a lot of needs, dude. Not just quarterback, and it's like I was talking to my buddy that's a Raiders fan earlier, and he's like, man, we keep winning and we're like falling in the draft, and I was like, yeah, but dude, like, okay, you draft Shedeur Sanders, dude, like he's gonna have to play behind a dog shit offensive line, and you saw what he looked like last night against BYU. Like BYU was fucking, they couldn't hold up. He was trash against the blitz, dude. Like he's not that good against the blitz, so it's like he's gonna be running for his life next year. Like, do you really want that? I don't know if that's like, I would rather, if I'm the Raiders, draft offensive line, defensive line, because if you look at the teams that are good, they either A, have a generational quarterback, or B, they're stout on the offensive and defensive lines, right? So I don't think there's a generational quarterback in this draft. Maybe Jalen Milroe becomes one. I think he has the highest ceiling, but I don't know, like, because there's a lot in between the ears that needs to be figured out. And we're seeing that with a lot of young quarterbacks now. Like, they have all these athletic gifts, but they're just like, they don't know how to play quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, get an offensive line and defensive lineman and sign fucking Brock Purdy. He's better than AOC.
Yeah. Dude.
Because Brock isn't getting a lot of money from the Niners, and I'm okay with that.
I don't know what the Niners are gonna do, but
I still hear they're gonna try and sign him for like 45 to 50 million, and I think that is just absolutely batshit crazy.
I just think the days of like not having a mobile QB, or like, you have to have a mobile QB now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just because like they can escape the pocket and stuff, but if you have to account for a quarterback as a runner, that gives you one less guy that you can have in coverage on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you see how much it opens up the field for guys like Lamar and Jaden Daniels and stuff like that, right? Like, you having a mobile QB just makes your offense so much easier and to run and stuff. And I think that's the future, bro. Like, and a lot of these teams, I mean, look at all these bad teams, Ben. Like, they got they got dog shit quarterback play, but like, they got a bunch of stationary dudes, bro, that like are pocket quarterbacks, and those days are gone, man. Those days are long gone. They're over with.
Yep.
Got to adapt to the new game, and I think we're kind of seeing that transition this year, dude. Is we talked about it earlier in the season. Like, the teams that can run the ball really efficiently and effectively are the teams at the top of the league, and the teams that can't run the ball and don't have mobile quarterbacks are your dog shit teams, like the fucking Titans, the fucking Raiders, all the Niners. Like, all these teams are in, and a lot of the Niners' problems are because of health, but still, like, they don't have
the Giants.
And Brock Purdy's been playing a majority of the year, so that tells you, that goes to show, like, he's not that franchise dude.
Yep.
So,
I mean, what can you say for Arizona then?
Oh, I think it's time to move on from Kyler. Absolutely. But I think Kyler's problem is the fact that he's just too short. He can't see over the fucking offensive line.
Yep.
Because he's hella skilled. He's hella, like, he has all the attributes except for
size.
He's 5'9", dude. Yep. And you see all the time, dude, his passes get batted, or he throws it off an offensive lineman's head. Like, he just can't see over the line, dude.
No.
And it's a huge fucking issue. And, the Cardinals, if they move on from Kyler, they're obviously going to have to fucking eat a ton of money for the next couple of years. And, like, they're obviously too far down to draft a quarterback this year, so he's going to be your quarterback next year. Like, there's no way around that. You don't have any other fucking options, unfortunately. But
yep.
They definitely, I think the Cardinals are kind of, they're going to be in this purgatory, like, middle of the pack for the next couple of years until they get a better quarterback.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say better quarterback, because I think Kyler's really talented, dude. He's just too short. He's just far too short.
It doesn't fit the NFL anymore.
It never has. Being short has never worked, dude.
Yeah.
There's one good short QB in the history of the NFL, and that's Drew Brees.
Yeah. Look at the struggles Bryce is having.
Yeah, but he's looking a lot better. But yes, he still is, like, he's still not that dude.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting draft, because a lot of these teams are, like I said, dude, they're just so bad, bro. And they need a lot more than just one player.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly it. They need a lot more than just one player. And there's a lot of teams in this bottom half. And to fill those holes is going to be really difficult, because you have a lot of teams with a lot of holes.
Yeah.
And, there's only so many players that are of NFL quality and caliber. And I mean, I think you're still going to see this disparity. So
I think the gap will closing, because, like I said, dude, NFL is usually has the most parity. Like, it's usually always the most parity. That's why every year I hate to bring betting into this, but that's why usually every year is like 52 48. Like favorites only hit 52% of the time, dogs hit 48% of the time because the league is so close together. And that's usually what separates the NFL and college. Is in college, obviously there's more teams, but the upper echelon teams are so much better than the lower teams. And that's usually not the case in the NFL. Usually the difference between the best team and the worst team is less than 10 points. But this year it's like, 20 points, maybe more. And that's the biggest difference. And the problem is that there's so many of those bad teams, dude. You have like a handful of those teams. It's not just one or two. It's like 5 or 6 of those teams.
Yeah, you have 9 teams right now that are 4-12 or worse.
Yeah, it's bad, dude.
Yeah.
And a big part of it too is because a lot of these franchises like the Jets, the Raiders, the fucking Panthers, like a lot of these franchises have been run so poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just kind of like seeing it all kind of come to a head now.
Yeah. But look how quickly things have changed. You've got the Commanders who get out of what was that douchebag's name?
Dan Snyder.
Snyder, yeah, last year, and look at them this year.
Yeah, but they also, to keep it a buck, dude, they also they drafted well the last couple of years.
Absolutely, but those guys want to go out there and play. Previously, we didn't see that. Last year, we definitely didn't see that.
No, last year I don't think that last year, I just think it was a coaching issue. Like now you get coaches in there, the right coaches, and that you have talent, and look at what matters. Like that's why coaching is.
Rivera wasn't that bad.
No, Rivera's he's not a good coach, bro. Ron Rivera had a couple good seasons, and it's because he had a fucking generational quarterback in Cam Newton. Like Cam Newton saved that motherfucker, and he had like a generational defense. He had arguably the best linebacker in the history of the NFL, and Luke Kuechly on his team. Like he had enough talent to kind of outweigh how bad of a coach he is. Like, dude, he's had like 2 good years in his coaching career. You know what I mean? Like. You have to have good coaching in the NFL, dude. In football in general, you have to have good coaching. You have to have good X's and O's guys, but as far as a head coach, you have to have a culture builder. You have to have someone that builds a culture. Look at Jim Harbaugh, for example. Bro, no other team wanted to sign Jim Harbaugh except for the Chargers. Look at he turned the Chargers around in a year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, and then the Bears keep Matt Eberflus and hire a fucking Matt Waldron as their offensive coordinator, who nobody in Seattle really respected.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing between him in Seattle and him in Chicago is you still have Pete Carroll in Seattle, who is a winning coach everywhere he's gone, a culture builder, a guy that builds culture.
Yeah. Then look who they're trying to get in Seattle next year. Or sorry, in Chicago next year.
I don't know if they'll hire him because at the end of the day, I think they want to hire a hot shot coordinator like Ben Johnson, but the one thing about hiring a coordinator like that, and even, buyer beware on Cliff Kingsbury as well, right? A lot of these coordinators, they're great coordinators, Ben, but they're not necessarily good.
To coach.
Exactly. They're not, doesn't make them great head coaches, dude. And we see that with defense too. There's great defensive coordinators, dude. There's great offensive coordinators, but then they get a head coaching job and they're just not the same guy because they can't focus on that one thing. And you have the entire organization that you're responsible for, really, and so it just changes your responsibilities a ton, and a lot of guys end up failing. And that's not to say they're bad coaches, they're just not meant to be head coaches. So it's like, if you're the Bears, if you had a choice between Pete Carroll and Ben Johnson, I 100% would go get Pete Carroll, because I know Pete Carroll is going to build a winning culture. He's done it everywhere he's gone. You know what I mean? And he'll hire a good offensive coordinator, right? Hiring Ben Johnson, great offensive coordinator. Do we know if he's going to be a head coach? Absolutely not. We have no clue.
Then you still have to hire an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Well, he would probably run the offense, so he'd probably have specialists.
He'd still need, yeah. He'd still need an offensive coordinator.
Well, not be like Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan doesn't have an offensive coordinator. He has a bunch of like pass game coordinators and run game coordinators, and then he calls all the plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be similar, and that's how Cliff Kingsbury was in Arizona. But the problem with a lot of those guys is they get so caught up on one side of the football that oftentimes it leads to issues in other places.
Yeah.
For example, the Niners haven't had great special teams since Kyle Shanahan has been there. There's 3 phases to football. He does hire good defensive coordinators usually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they always leave after a year.
Yeah, because they end up
they're good.
Because they're good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's what happens. But again, like there's guys like Matt LaFleur, you know, he's done really well. Sean McVay has done really well. So, you know, it's about finding those guys if they've never done it before, or you can go with the guy that you already know has done it. The only problem with hiring Pete Carroll is, you know, he's not going to be there that long because he's fucking like 65, 63.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to deter the Bears, is probably only have him for 5, maybe 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. And then the general manager's got to fucking draft well, dude, and the scouts got to scout well. You know, it's a whole operation, bro, and like, it's a big thing. Like in the NBA, for example, dude, like Mike Brown just got fired from the Kings. Mike Brown just won. He was unanimous head coach of the year 2 years ago, bro.
Yeah.
But he is a scapegoat because the general manager built a dog shit roster.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, why is this general manager, like he's hired and fired like 3 coaches now, and they've been to the playoffs 1 time, and the one coach that got him to the playoffs, he fired.
Yep.
Why?
Yeah, now they're talking about trading De'Aaron Fox too.
But like that's the problem with the Kings, dude, is you built your roster, or you tried to build your roster around De'Aaron Fox. And De'Aaron Fox, he had 1 good season, dude, and he hasn't replicated that. Mm-hmm. He hasn't replicated that season. And now, you know, your roster is really built on De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan to really like bring you home every night, score 25 to 30 points, and you don't really have much around them.
Yeah.
And you don't have the right guys around them. But you blame the head coach.
Yep.
Because the head coach is always easier to get rid of than the entire roster.
In any sport, yep.
But I mean, if I was the Kings, I would trade De'Aaron Fox. I would try to, at least.
Yeah.
You know, Lakers fans are chomping at the bit. They already got the trade machine opened up.
Mm-hmm.
They think they try to trade everybody.
Everybody's going there. Yep.
Fucking love Lakers.
No, you're not wrong there.
But yeah, back to the NFL. Like, you know, these, like, the Raiders are such a piss run organization, dude. So are the Jets. Like, bro, they traded for Aaron Rodgers, Ben, and like he's washed as fuck.
And they've gotten worse. Yeah.
And then the 2 quarterbacks they drafted before him, Sam Darnold and Geno Smith, are starting quarterbacks for playoff caliber teams. Sam Darnold's on the best team in the NFC right now.
No, you forgot Milf Hunter in there though.
Oh yeah, Zach Wilson. I mean, that was just a terrible sign. But who knows, dude? That guy could go to another team in a couple of years and get an opportunity and show he's worth starting.
Sam Darnold. Yeah.
Yep. And that runs from the organization down, top to bottom. And that's why, like, some of these quarterbacks, like Shedeur Sanders, dude, I'm telling you right now, dude, if the Raiders draft Shedeur Sanders, that dude is going to be a bust.
Yeah. Because
that team is poorly ran.
Yeah, well, I think the only other option with that is to get Dion as their coach. Because, yes, the organization is poorly run, but at least he has that experience with him and with Shedeur, and will be able to at least get buy-in in the field.
But
whether the GM can provide a good enough team for him,
that's the problem.
Who knows? But at least they'll be able to get buy-in on the field.
Like they don't have an offensive line. Dude's gonna get killed beyond that offensive line.
Yeah.
Same thing with playing for the Giants. Giants can be the same thing. Although the Giants historically are a pretty well run organization. Like they've just had a bad few years.
Yeah.
But
Hackett was their coach, right? No, who was their
no,
coach?
their coach is DeBoer, but I mean, like for the longest time, it was my God, what the fuck's his name, dude? The guy that won fucking 2 Super Bowls. Oh my God. Why can I not think of his name?
Not Dable.
No, Dable's their coach now.
Parcells. Brian Dable. He's hired in 2022.
Tom Coughlin.
Oh yeah, that wasn't who I was thinking.
He was there from 2004 to 15, but since he's left, I mean that franchise has just been.
Okay, but who was in between Coughlin and Dable?
They had a few guys. They had Ben McAdoo, Pat Shurmur, and Joe Judge. But again, that's because you hire guys that aren't good culture builders, right?
Yeah.
And you don't draft well. And then you draft a guy like Daniel Jones, and then you hire Brian Dable to come up into. You hire Brian Dable to come in and fix Daniel Jones. He goes to the playoffs in his first year, and so as a franchise, you're thinking, okay, we got the right dude, but ultimately, you have to look deeper because a lot of times, a lot of your wins could be schedule based, right? If the ball bounces your way, like a lot of 1-score games, if you're winning a ton of 1-score games, the likelihood of that happening 2 to 3 years in a row is very unlikely, right?
Mm-hmm.
So unless you're the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs, I mean, that team just knows how to win. That's why they have 3 Super Bowls in the Pat Mahomes era. So, I mean, like, the franchise has to do themselves a favor, and they gotta run things the right way and really understand who they are as a franchise and who they want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, not wrong. There's a lot of shit teams in the NFL right now.
Dude, there's a ton. A lot of shit teams. It's actually crazy how bad the fucking league is right now, man.
Yeah.
Like,
so out of these shit teams, though, at least out of the 3-13 and the 4-12 teams, like, which of these teams need quarterbacks? So you got the Jets, like they're talking about bringing Rodgers back for another year. So they're likely not going to draft a QB this draft. The Raiders
they should.
will.
If they like a QB, they should.
Yeah. The Raiders will. The Jags won't.
You shouldn't look at it as who will and who won't. You should look at it as who needs a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. Okay. The Raiders need a quarterback. The Browns need a quarterback. The Titans need a quarterback. The Giants need a quarterback. The Panthers, Bears don't need a quarterback. The Saints need a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, those teams need quarterbacks. Now, whether they draft them or not, that's a different question. Because they also need a lot of other things.
Yeah. Yeah, so really it looks like the Saints, the Titans, the Raiders, and the Jets.
Jets, Giants,
Browns. Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought I said the Giants, but I guess not.
Giants, Titans, Browns, Saints, Jags. Or not the Jags, sorry. They got Trevor Lawrence. Raiders, Jets.
Do you think the Browns are going to draft a QB?
I think they need a quarterback. Do they draft a quarterback? I don't know.
They're talking about restructuring Watson's deal.
His deal's already restructured to the point where, like, they can get out of it pretty easy.
It's just all dead cap.
Well, they transferred his. I gotta look at it. but I'm pretty sure they transferred his contract to so they can get out of it pretty easily. Let me see. Hold on. Like they gave him all the money up front. Let me see. See here, Deshaun Watson contract. So, yeah, this year his base salary is only 1.2 million, but he would be a $27 million cap hit this year. Next year his base salary is 46 million. But let's see what this is. Hold on. He has a full no trade clause.
Oh, so they already did it 2 days ago.
What?
The restructure.
What did it say?
They agree to rework the contract. The move signals that Watson is likely to return to Cleveland in 2025. He has 2 years remaining on the 5-year, fully guaranteed $230 million deal that he signed upon being traded to Cleveland. The Browns owe him $46 million in each of the 2 next season. He has a cap hit of $72.9 million in 25 and 26. The reworked contract adds 2 void years to the deal, allowing the Browns to push out his dead salary cap until 2030.
Oh, so they can cut him and push out the cap to 2030.
Yeah.
So I say because he has 2027 and 2028, they can void those years. So he's really only signed for 2 more years.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have a huge dead cap.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. The dead cap, the cap hit would be fucking huge. But if you have a rookie quarterback, it makes it a little easier to get it. But I mean, that's $72 million cap hit that they're gonna have to fucking take. So I don't know if they really want to do that, but I mean, it is only 2 more seasons. So I mean, if you're the Browns and you really like one of the quarterbacks, I mean, you fucking might as well draft them. But who knows? They also need a lot. They also need offensive line help. They need a receiver. I mean, there's a lot that they, and that's the thing with a lot of these teams. This thing with the Raiders and the Giants is like, Giants need O-line help.
Yep.
You know, the Giants need fucking help on defense. But I mean, like, ultimately, the Giants really need a fucking quarterback.
Yeah.
The Raiders, they need a shit ton of help too, but they need a quarterback.
And O-line.
The Raiders probably need an offensive. The Raiders and the Giants both need offensive line help really bad.
Yeah.
Putting a quarterback behind either of those offensive lines, not very good. Especially a rookie quarterback because, A, they can't process the field quickly enough, right? And it ends up just being a fucking nightmare. And the last thing you want to do, too, is get your quarterback hella banged up, Ben, and, like, then they become, like, hella scared and you know, some dudes never recover from that shit.
Well, and I think you got a big problem there with you know, okay, if you do take a quarterback in the first round, like you either have to trade up to get another first round pick, because even at the bottom, you've got Carolina, who could use offensive line help, the Bears that desperately need offensive line help, the Niners, who need offensive line help, the Patriots, who need offensive line help, the Jags, who need offensive line help, and all have quarterbacks. The Jets, same thing.
Yep. Yeah, the Jets need fucking offensive line help desperately too.
Yeah.
See, but the last thing the Jets want to do is fall into this thought process where oh, we can keep Aaron Rodgers. We just need to upgrade our offensive line because, dude, Rodgers looks washed as fuck, man.
Well, and Wilson is requesting a trade. We've already heard that.
Who?
Garrett Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want that.
So they're going to need a lot of offensive help. And I'm sorry, no wide receiver is going to want to go in and play for a shitty quarterback, a washed ass quarterback.
Yeah. Nah, it's a bad look for the Jets right now, man. That but again, that franchise from top to bottom, I mean, they need everything redone, dude. That's just such a bad team, bro. That is a really bad team. All right.
Let's talk some baseball.
Yeah, let's talk some baseball real quick, and then so we had obviously Teoscar Hernandez signed 3 years, $66 million deal back to the Dodgers. How much of it was deferred, Ben?
20 million over the next 2 seasons, I believe.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Well, it's still a third of a contract.
The deferrals, I'm telling you, dude, in 10 years, in the next decade, bro, that team is gonna be fucking paying a whole other. They're gonna have their salary for their team, and then the salary that they're paying for deferrals, dude. It's gonna be like they're gonna be paying like fucking $500 million to $1 billion in salaries next decade.
What do you think about this signing?
Teoscar?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I thought about when I saw the contract come across it, I was like, damn, dude, this dude must have not had a market for him. Like, you know, we kept hearing the Red Sox were interested, the Blue Jays were interested, but the fact that he only got 3 years, $66 million, I mean, that's like nothing, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 3 years, 66, so 22 million a year. I think that's right around where he should have been. I'm surprised he didn't get longer term, but that 22 million mark is kind of where I'd put him, because he doesn't, like, he's had 1.5 good seasons, I'd say.
Yeah.
So, you know, he doesn't have that, like, that history behind him that really can say, like, okay, he's a legit number one guy. He's good in the outfield, but he's not great in the outfield. So I mean, I think the contract is right. I don't know why they signed him. You bring in Conforto. You have Chris Taylor and James Outman, who are now on the bench. You signed Edman to a big deal. Why do you need him?
Well, I don't think it hurts, and you obviously bring someone back that's like familiar with the clubhouse and familiar with the organization. And my biggest thing is, like, you know, they have a lot of good young outfield talent coming up in their system. Like, obviously, like James Outman was supposed to be like their center fielder of the future. You know, who knows where that goes? He had a terrible start to last year. They sent him down to AAA. Brought up Andy Pajes, who's also supposed to be, you know, an outfielder of the fielder of the future there. And then you also have Dalton Rushing, who's coming up, and he's one of the top prospects in Major League Baseball right now. So it's like, you know, I thought it would be a good transition for them to get those young guys going now with having these big contracts. But I guess it also opens up the possibility for them to trade them, you know, if they need, like, if they have injuries in the middle of the season, right? And they need fucking, like a starting pitcher or whatever. So I don't know. The one thing I will say about the Dodgers is Andrew Friedman is definitely one of the better baseball minds in the game. So, you know, it's tough to argue with anything he does. And when you're playing with like a fucking open checkbook, it makes things a lot easier as well. So, you know, it doesn't hurt them signing Teoscar Hernandez. Because at the end of the day, it's like 3 years. So if he like doesn't work out, it's like, all right, whatever. We'll eat the money and
Well, but it's really 5 years because
Well,
they're deferring 40 million of his contract. But
but I mean, like 66 million to the Dodgers is like fucking
yeah,
pennies to most
yeah,
organizations. So, if he doesn't, if he ends up not being as good as he was last year, it's like, all right, well, we'll just move on to one of these young guys and give them an opportunity, right? So, I don't know. I was definitely shocked he went back to the Dodgers, although I kept hearing like the Dodgers were still talking to him, and like again, I don't think there was a real market for him. I don't think a lot of teams were out there looking for him. And I thought when the Orioles signed Tyler O'Neill, because they needed a right-handed outfield bat, and I was like, oh shit. When they signed Tyler O'Neill, I was like, damn, like what the fuck's that say about Teoscar Hernandez? Because Teoscar Hernandez is supposed to be the best right-handed outfield bat available in the open market. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't think there was a real big market for him.
yeah, which is surprising, but um,
Yeah, I thought for sure he would get like a 5-year deal.
yeah,
Shocked he only got 3.
yeah.
Corbin Burns to
Oh,
Arizona.
before we move off of LA, there's talk of Dave Roberts getting a lucrative contract extension.
Yeah, I mean, might as well.
How,
He's been there
how much is
forever.
going to be deferred?
Probably all of it.
Yeah.
Probably like 98%. But his
Someone said
contract doesn't.
5 years, 95 million, or sorry, 5 years, 100 million, 95 of it will be deferred.
Probably. Although deferrals they do it for the players so it doesn't hit the salary cap.
Yeah.
So they can avoid luxury tax and sign more guys. His won't count against it, but yeah, that would be fucking hilarious.
Cool.
Corbin Burns signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Been kind of shocking. Nobody saw the Diamondbacks being players for Corbin Burns. I was shocked when I saw it, that it was the Diamondbacks. Had no fucking clue the Diamondbacks were even
Yeah.
in on him. And he got a pretty good deal, and I mean, he got a really good deal for him with
Got a
the
great
second
deal.
year opt out. So if he's good for 2 years, he can opt out again and test the market again.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
And if
happens.
not, Arizona's only stuck with them for 6 years, not 8,
Yeah.
which I think is huge. I mean, the number is great. The length is great. Um, I'm shocked about this. I think when we were talking about this when the Giants were first rumored. I think I said I'd only want him 5 or 6 years for that 210,
Yep.
which is the same number that Fried got in New York. So I mean I think this is a great deal. And I think there are two major factors of this from what I've been reading and seeing that a lot of teams either A couldn't offer or B weren't willing to offer. And the first is the 2-year opt out. Um, I think it's great for Corbin because if he does pitch well, which I don't think he'll do to get a contract more than I think it was like $32.5 million in 2 years.
Yeah.
Then he can opt out, and that's good for him if he wants to go test that free agency market. But if not, then he still has 4 years left at that money. I think he'll be in Arizona for all 6 years, but that's just my opinion. And the big thing is he's in Arizona, and that's something that nobody could offer.
Yeah.
Um,
That's where he
you know,
lives.
it's where he lives. They just had twins.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to leave for spring training. He doesn't have to uproot his family, their doctors,
Yep.
anything. So
I think that was the big thing, dude.
yeah,
Was that he
and
lives there.
taxes. I think taxes is even though someone said that Boris came out and said that taxes wasn't a big deal, but if you're looking at playing for a California team, you're going to be paying high taxes.
Yep.
If you're looking at paying for a Canadian team, you're making 70 cents to the dollar.
Yep.
So you know, I that puts a lot more money into his pocket. So, you know, those are three big things, and you know, good for Corbin,
Yep,
good for Arizona.
100%. Agreed.
Great deal.
Yeah, I
Great deal.
thought it was a good deal for both sides, dude. I thought
Yep.
it makes sense, and then when I heard that he like lived in Arizona, I was like, all right, that makes fucking total sense. Like,
Yep.
it all kind of encompasses each other and stuff.
Yep.
But a huge blow for Baltimore, man. Like, I mean, I don't think Baltimore is ever gonna re-sign him, anyways. You know,
Yeah.
even when they traded for him last year, I was like, oh, it's a 1-year rental. Um, but man, they're going into next year. They're really banking on Trevor Rogers to bounce back, dude.
Yeah. Huge blow for Baltimore, huge blow for the Giants, huge blow for Toronto.
I think it hurts for the Giants more than anything because someone in their division got him.
Yeah. Yeah. I would not be surprised if we go out and overpay for Jack Flaherty like tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean they
He's
definitely need a starter.
he's not I mean, I think the best thing that he has going for him is that he's 29. And everyone else remaining is well older.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, I think I think you have to go out there and sign, you know, two at least two starters out of the remaining pitchers. I'd go Flaherty for like a 5-year deal, and I'd probably go like Lance Lynn for a 2-year deal, or Clevenger for a 2-year deal, or Patrick Corbin for a 2-year deal.
I think Corbin's gonna retire, dude.
You think so?
I mean, I would if I was him. He's fucking
Yeah.
washed. Although he
You
didn't
got
have a terrible year last year.
Kyle Gibson, you've got
See, but
Colin
those
Ray.
kind of dudes, like those kind of dudes are like inning eaters, dude. They're just like
Yeah, they're gonna
back
be a
into the
3-4
rotation.
starter.
They should be your fifth
Or
starter.
sorry, yeah,
They should just be
4
in
5
there. They should just be in there to like A, help young guys because they're like seasoned vets, and B, just eat innings, dude.
Yep.
Like, hey, we need you to just go out and pitch fucking 5 1/3, 6 innings,
Yep.
and save our bullpen, dude, and like not get shelled for 10 runs, dude.
Yep. Well, and I mean, I think that's what you can have the Giants do. The Giants can have them do that. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean those guys have value for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people understand that shit. Like, you know, that's why I always tell you, dude, like 4.5 ERA guys. If you give me 200 innings of 4.5 ERA, I'll take that all the time, dude.
Yeah.
Because you're saving my bullpen, dude.
Yeah.
And like 4.5 ERA, like you're still keeping us in games.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you're not shutting down an opposing lineup, but like you're still keeping us in the game and you're saving our bullpen.
Yeah.
Those dudes are like invaluable. Like the Tigers should go out and sign someone like that for the back end of their bullpen.
Yep. I mean, yeah, there's a couple guys here still left. You know, Cal Quantrill. It's like, yeah, he's not going to be a 1, 2, or 3 starter, but
And you're not gonna have to pay him as one either. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you're paying him fucking average ass salary for his
yeah.
position. Plus
Uh,
those are the kind of dudes too. You sign them on a 1-year deal, and they're pitching for their next contract.
yeah, prove it.
Yep.
The only one I don't want is fucking Flexen. Uh,
Yeah.
or probably Herman. Good pitcher, but can't stay off the juice,
Herman's been hurt lately. A
which
lot.
is why he's been on the juice.
I don't think he got popped for juice. I think he's
He got puffed for juice twice
when?
last year.
Domingo Herman. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Herman Marquez from the Rockies,
Sorry.
but he's not a free agent. I was gonna say he just signed like a 2-year deal with the Rockies right after he had Tommy John. All right, let's get some best bets for tomorrow. I got early start tomorrow.
Oof, that's rough.
Here we
I got
go.
one bet.
What do you got?
I got one bet that's a two-part better.
All right.
So same game, but I'm gonna be betting a unit and a unit and a half on this game. So I'm gonna go Jets over the Predators. Predators have two really tough games, and I think we're gonna see the better goaltender, which is Saros. Probably get in the start tomorrow day after tomorrow against the Wild. Because there's a better chance of them winning against the Wild than they are the Predators winning against the Winnipeg Jets. So we're going to go Jets money line at 155. We're going to do a full unit on that, which, yeah, you're paying a price for that. But, yeah, I think that's going to be an easier win. And then we're going to put a half unit on puck line at -1.5, and that is value there is at +150.
Nice.
You should be hitting both of those, which will probably net you around 2 units for your 1.5 price. But I think you've got great value on that at +150 for the puck line. And Winnipeg is they're running through everyone right now.
Nice. Hell yeah. I got 2 plays for tomorrow. I like San Francisco -4 against Santa Clara, college hoops. San Francisco, top 50 defense in the nation right now. Just an incredible team, and this is at the Hilltop. Santa Clara really relies on the 3-point ball, and San Francisco is one of the best teams defending the 3-point shot. On the flip side, San Francisco is one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the country, and Santa Clara is allowing almost 50% of their opponent points to be from the 3-point line. So I think this matchup bodes very well for San Francisco here. So I like USF -4. And then we're going to the college bowl games. We're going Iowa +2.5 tomorrow against Mizzou. Iowa is going to be missing their starting running back, but Mizzou has a lot of opt-outs, and Sullivan is back, the quarterback for Iowa. So I like Iowa +2.5 there. Yeah, I think Iowa wins outright.
Okay.
I've been hot in the Bulls too. Bowl season 2 years in a row has been good to me.
Oh yeah,
So we just gotta keep that up. All right.
like it.
Oh, forgot to change the outro song.
Oh, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Yep. So we don't have an outro song today, but thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure to Steven just joined the chat. He said, "What's up, boys? Been busy the last few weeks. Hope all is well." Same to you, Steven.
Yep. Hope you had a good holiday.
Yep. Merry late Christmas. Happy New Year. Thank you everybody for joining us. If you missed any of the show, you could get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Taproom Sports Podcast. We'll be back on Tuesday night's New Year's Eve. So we'll be back next Sunday. And we'll be breaking down some more Major League Baseball, NFL as we get ready for the playoffs, etc. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Follow us on Instagram at Taproom Sports Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Taproom_sports. Follow myself on Twitter at Jordan Wills TSP. Thank you everybody once again. Have a blessed New Year, and we will see y'all later. Peace.
Later.